All right, y'all, how's it going? Oh man, I tell you what, bait was kind of tough this morning, but I got enough for today. It seems like when the wind is blowing like it was last trip, they're a little bit easier to catch. They seem to get piled up. Of course, that wind pushes the bait around. It's my guess. But anyway, what we're gonna do is we're gonna set up a little bit different. Well, we're gonna start different. We're still gonna hit, I know last video I talked about it, I'm gonna break down some of them deeper holes, which we definitely will. What I'm going to do this morning, starting off, just because I got to drive past this area, I'm going to hit some of this stuff. Now it's kind of there's a point there, and there's a point above us, which I'll show you that here in a minute. But there's like a little flat right here, and it's first thing in the morning. Well, I say first thing, it's 7 o'clock, 59-degree water temp. I didn't really scan a whole lot coming up here, which you typically won't, because these fish are going to be pushed down. So I'm going to do the basic same setup, but we're going to try it here, and then we'll try another spot on that point up above us. So that's kind of what I want to try first thing this morning, just kind of see, if these spots are even viable yet either. So I don't know. I've caught some good fish out of here. There's some good fish that moves along this ledge. We're kind of I call it a flat. It's off the ledge, but it kind of comes out like a little hump here, and then of course you got the main channel, which is over here. And sometimes them fish are up feeding, which they will right along through here. It's usually a good spot to find a few. But since I got to drive past this little spot anyway, I figure let's give it a shot. And big head down the center, and then we'll just kind of see what, like I said, what's moving around through here. Because we've got last couple trips, it's been a good morning bite. Like, we got till about, I'd say, roughly noon. And then that is pretty much it, noon, 1 o'clock. So that's what we're gonna bank on here. We did pretty stinking good last trip. Hoping we can mirror that. I need to cut them fins off. I keep forgetting to cut them fins off. I don't know if, I'm sure in some ways, it causes fish to not get it, but it dang sure doesn't hurt anything to cut it off. We got current this morning. It's kind of one of the bigger deals. I want to hurry up and get some lines out. Spent a little bit of time trying to catch bait this morning. It was a little bit tougher than it was yesterday. But we had no wind on the spot. Like I said, that wind drives where that bait sets up at. And I also think it creates like a disturbance on the top of the water, which kind of gives these skipjack, whatever's chasing the shad, I think it gives it a little bit of camouflage to the point where they seem that they can move around a little bit more freely. It's just a sheer guess, but I'm thinking that's kind of the deal. Okay, so anyway, I want to show you this. So right there, that we're kind of in an inside bend. That's a point, and then like I said, right down there, that's a point. So this whole bank kind of horseshoes in just a little bit, and that's what's I don't know if that's what's made it a good spot or not, but I'll show you what it looks like on the graph. Let me zoom out. So what I'm talking about is, now you got the main channel that's right here with the deep holes and whatnot, and you can see where it starts the holes there. And then you got these contour lines. This is kind of a flat. That's what I'm calling a flat, but you see how far apart these lines are, contour lines. It's a real slow tapering, bottom going to the main channel. And then of course there's this sporadic structure all down through here, and we're parked here, obviously. But this is still kind of the same theme as last trip. Still on a point, kind of. The next one we're going to go to is going to be right here, which is a more defined point, but same deal. This is kind of a, you know, it's where the channel flattens up and there's still sporadic structure out there. So that's kind of what we're going to start off doing first thing this morning. Then we'll run up and we'll start breaking down some of them bigger, deeper holes that I know where some of that. But we don't have near the current we had yesterday. I don't know if it's going to ramp up. I mean, we got current, don't get me wrong, we got decent current. But I thought it'd be more. Maybe it's going to pick up more throughout the day. Of course, we are off a point too, so that could be part of it. But yeah, we'll sit here. I don't know, we'll give it 30 minutes. Like I said, it's 7, a little after 7, so we'll give it a little bit. All right, well, I mean, just a couple little bites here. We'll try one more spot, kind of like this one, and then we will definitely do something else. All right, we'll see what this wind does to us here, if we got enough time before it picks up a little bit harder. A little bit shallower here. Just want to give it a shot. You know, I mean, don't want to pass up any opportunities on these fish doing something different today, because that's typically how it works. You kind of get them lined out one day and then they're doing something completely different the next. Yeah, this is definitely turning out to not be the deal. We had even got a bite. I had one small bite at that first spot. So, but they got 10 more minutes. I wanna give it the sit, but they got 10 more minutes and we gotta go start exploring. Well, get to what we originally were going to do. That's more or less the case, I guess. Yeah, they got 10 more minutes. All right, well, let's get to moving. You had your chance, fish. Had your chance to be on camera and everything. We'll put fresh bait on. I don't think I'm gonna cut them a little bit different. I think I need to get some smaller profile baits. All right, so we made it down here. We're set up on the very inside edge of this hole here. So the hole, so what we'll probably end up doing, the only reason why I'm sitting up here, because there's some good structure right back behind us, and that's the reason why I wanted to sit here. But so what we're gonna do is we're gonna sit up here, then we're just gonna kind of shift out just a little bit further to where we're in line with that, where the hole kind of drops off, well, where it starts to drop off into the hole. And then we'll probably slide back and try that. Then, like I said, there's one just above us. We'll hit that one too, but let me get some baits out. We got a barge coming. Old barges. Try to go a little bit smaller baits just to see if that also makes a difference. All right, I'll show you how we're set up here. Now this spot here, I haven't caught many fish off of it, but it just sets up too stinking nice. So, okay, so here's the point that I'm talking about that's kind of, underwater point, and this is the hole. So, well, we should be at that center of that hole should be right at 50 foot. But that's a good piece of structure. There's a couple of good pieces of structure, and there's one more right there. So we're 30 feet-ish from that, 77 feet from that. But if you see where that's all in line as it starts to go down to that hole, what I was talking about, what we'll end up doing is we'll move out to probably like right here somewhere and come up somewhere right in here and just fish that hole a little bit more thorough. And again, there's another one right up above us. So that's kind of the plan. We'll, you can burn up a lot of time doing this if you're not in the right spot. So, but down this stretch, I've caught some good fish. So we'll see. Oh, bite, outside rod, outside rod. Oh, and he dropped it. No way. He hit it. He was slowly pulling it down. Dang it. Wow, it's our first serious bite of the day. All right, well, a couple little bites on this one. We're gonna move out, kind of get at the top edge of that hole as it starts to go down into the hole. Sit up there for 30 minutes. See, this stuff, you know, fishing like this, it's definitely hit or miss on where you stop at, for sure. So we're just kind of working around this area here. You know, like I said, I still got more up that we can try to, or that we're going to hit. But for, you know, because you just never know when that good fish is laying right where they need to be. Kind of thankful there's not a bunch of small fish around here. The chances of us getting into a flathead are a little bit higher. We'll just work around this hole. All right, set up, well, stop in our next spot. Let this boat do what it's got to do. But like I said, we're on as the hole starts to come up, or I guess technically as the river flows, as it starts to go down, we're kind of right at that little cusp as it starts to go down. Seeing a few little fish down there. Well, you know, I mean, there could be more than that. Like I said, if they're pushed to the bottom, laying on the bottom, you'll never see them. Make sure we're where we need to be. Yeah, we're close enough. Oh, there we go. There we go. Down there on the front side of this hole. Don't feel like a terrible fish. No drag screamer, but finally got our first fish. He's staying down, but I don't think he's a monster by no means. Where you at, buddy? It's definitely a blue. I mean, he ain't terrible. I promise you that. Heck yeah, buddy. Come on in here. Got another mid-20s fish. Come on, buddy. Come on, buddy. There we go. Yeah, about another mid-20s fish here. Oh, yeah. I hear you, buddy. Heck yeah. Exactly where you wanted him hooked. It's old male. Come here, buddy. Heck yeah, look at this dude. It's old male. Straighten up, buddy. Straighten up. Yeah, I say mid-20s. He's probably right at 20. Heck yeah, buddy. Man, I really do appreciate that. Thank you. Like I said, we could fish around them little ones all day, and that's what I'm not wanting to do. Because then you'll get, you'll end up getting into a bunch of little ones, and again, that's fine. They're fun, don't get me wrong. But we're after more like that one and bigger. All right, well, we caught one fish here. Not terrible. Let's go move to another spot. We're gonna shoot across the river before we start making our way up. There's another one, another hole right over there I wanna hit before we go too far up. All right, let this boat get situated. We are pretty much there. This one's got a lot of structure on it too. It's kind of a neat little setup here. There we go, there we go. There we go. God dog. Is he just screaming at the boat? Surely he's not that small. Not the way he hit it. I mean, he's no monster, but I can say, because he was pulling drag there in the beginning, he couldn't be that itty bitty. Yeah, right there on the top bleeding edge of the hole. Like I said, you're not going to catch many doing this. Usually just maybe a fish or two. There may be more fish there, but you're only going to have maybe one or two that's active. Good dog, buddy. Yep, another solid fish. Yeah, exactly what I'm looking for. Exactly what I'm looking for. Just good, solid fish. Now, I would love bigger. This one here, he's probably about another 20 pounder, if I had to guess. Oh yeah, yep, he's probably right around there. $18 to $20 right there. Heck yeah. Just a solid fish. I'm sorry. God, would you chill, buddy? God, dog, you old hateful thing. Let me get a... right behind the tooth patch, right where you want them. Yeah, like I said, just a solid fish. He's probably 18, 20, right around there. Heck yeah, buddy. I like that. I do. Thank you. All right, other side. Well, I guess I'll get another piece of bait. We got a few more minutes to sit here, so. Seem to be on the channel side of it though. Deeper part of the hole on the channel side. Kind of started putting the pattern together, I guess. But the thing is them littler fish, they're just right over there. I promise you. They're, as that ledge comes up and that shallow water, 'cause that's where all the bait's at. That is where them fish are just, them smaller fish, them, you know, it's like itty bitty to probably 10, 12 pounds. That's where they're at. But when you kind of get away from them, you don't catch near as many fish or get near as many bites or whatever the case may be, because you go up there and, you know, pretty much anywhere along this river, that's where they're at. You know, occasionally you'll hook into a good fish, but you got to deal with all the little ones, you know, to start with. But if you just kind of pull off of there, because a lot of your bigger fish, they're not going to want to intermingle with them a whole lot, especially when there's a bunch of them up there. So that's why, you know, I pull off fishing where I'm fishing, because I'm trying to find them active, run into an active bigger fish. But like I said, there's just so many spots out here you could hit. You know, if you just got to hit the right one. Some days you do, some days you don't. But like I said, 2 fish tells you just a little bit more. We can get a 3rd fish, even if it's not in this spot. We get a 3rd fish, and we got us a pattern for the day. All right. Only 1 fish out of this spot. We got another one right up above us. We'll go set up on it and see what we can't pull out of there. All right, made it to our next spot. Let's see what we can't do here. Good looking spot, just like all the rest. It's just we've got to get ourselves in front of some active fish. This is a good spot to do that also. Well, I guess not every one of them's gonna have fish, which I kind of knew that. But we'll move up. There's a unique little spot right up above us. We're gonna set up on it. I don't know, just see. It's kind of a neat little deal there. All right, yeah, like I said, I'll show you this little spot when we get these casted out. I think we can cover all kinds of little stuff here. All right, let me show you this spot. It's kind of a neat deal. Okay, so get that out of the way. So it's kind of, you can see where I parked at. We got like a hole here. It's not much of one. I mean, we're sitting in 39 feet of water because we're right up on top of this deal. And then this is kind of like that's a point kind of right up through here. And so this is where it's just kind of built up. I don't know if it's, I mean, it's actually, like I said, you go back here, it's 44 feet, 45 feet. So basically I just got the boat parked here. We got rods just kind of fanned out. I mean, it's a neat looking spot. I don't know if there's anything, you know, kind of using it. It's kind of sort of the same deal, except for there's a hole on the inside right there, which that rod is based off the graph there. That's where that rod is kind of right at the tip of it. Yeah, so if there's a fish using that or whatever, or even using this outside here, you know, because as you've seen it, it kind of bows around. Oh, there's a bite. Bite on the double hook rig. I just hope it ain't more little ones, because that last little spot had some little ones. But like I said, I got one more spot after this we'll try. And I think that'll be pretty much it. Oh, there we go. So looking at our next spot on the graph, I need to pay attention to these rods more often. Yeah, this is just too good of a spot for them to be working up. It's just too good of a spot. I will definitely keep this in mind for sure. Kind of really liked where that red rod's at over there, but it ain't even got touched. I mean, just a, you know, it's not quite a dink, just a decent fish. Yeah, not quite a dink. Come on in here, buddy. That's a solid 12, 13 pounder right there. Yeah, dog, you absolutely wanted that, didn't you, buddy? My Lord. How am I going to get that hook out of you? I mean, it is back, way back there. Dang it. Yeah, you absolutely wanted that, didn't you? Let me. It's not deep in him, it's just he's got it somehow. God, dog. Ouch, ouch. Anything about it hit him in the brain. That's how far back he had it. Oh, buddy. So you absolutely wanted that, didn't you? That's a solid 10, 12 pounder. Heck yeah, buddy. Well, I surely appreciate that. The old muddy thing. Yeah, he had that thing. Like the shank was in his mouth, or the knot was in his mouth. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, I'll toss another one out there. We'll give it another 10 minutes, and then we will move. All right, well, we gave it a couple more minutes after that fish. I scoped that one more spot. It's just right above us. So not too far above us. And it's got a lot of structure, sticks and brush piles and stuff. So we're gonna sit on it, put fresh bait on, and then we'll run up to that last hole that I want to try to fish. All right, so we got a deep hole back there that is absolutely loaded with structure. So we are gonna see what, if anything, is in it. All right, well, let's go to our last spot. I am real surprised we didn't get it, not even a bite here. But it just goes to show you, man, it's just, it's hard to tell, you know, a lot of times, because you catch them in something similar, but they're not always gonna be on the same thing. And it's just always about, you know, just how the current hits it, you know, the way it sets up, things like that. So, you know, reason why them fish ain't there. But I got one more big skipjack left, and we are going to utilize him at this next spot, because I want all fresh baits this next spot. All right, last big skipjack. I am gonna toss the head out here, just because I have it. We're gonna see. Good looking spot, man. That's the only problem. They've all been good looking spots. Well, all right, y'all. That is gonna do it for this one. Man, we covered a lot of water today for only 3 fish. But, you know, like I said, last trip, we did way better fishing behind points. And the reason why I like fishing behind points, you know, underwater points, is that you actually cover more of the ledge than you do, say, like a hole. So, you know, it is what it is. I mean, we're not gonna find them every time we come out. We did find a couple, so I don't feel too terrible about that, you know, fishing like this. We definitely had a little bit higher pressure today. You know, maybe they were just pushed down, you know, like when we found last trip. They were pushed down in the mud, and we just kind of had to find that right depth range where, you know, fishing these holes and stuff, sometimes it goes back a little bit deeper. Maybe they're not there. Maybe they're, you know, maybe they're out where it's just a consistent, you know, bottom depth where, like I said, when you're fishing underwater points, it's typically a consistent water depth behind that. And that might be where they want to be. So, I don't know. Like I said, it was a lot of fun. I have, you know, too busy running around, you know, pulling boards and all this other stuff. And it's nice to just come out and just do this. Even like last trip. We're probably going to do the exact same thing next time. But I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to target structure in that same, I was just thinking about that before I got up here to do this, is that I know a lot of structure that was in the same water depth that we were catching fish last video. So try that, you know what I mean? Try not so much real deep shallow, or not real deep structure, but, you know, right around that 35 to 45 foot range, and just see what's up there. Because the flatheads are still gonna move. I mean, we still got a little bit of time before they really get tough to catch. So that's kind of what I'm banking on. Just hit enough spots, you know, pick up the occasional blue, but hopefully come across the flathead. So, but we're gonna have to head north to do that. The further this way I go, the shallower the river typically gets. And I'm sure they're there too, but I want to go that way because I know that part of the river a little bit better than I do further up, just to see if we can't catch us one. But yeah, man, all in all, it was good. It was a good day. You know, it wasn't fire by no means, but I'm pretty happy with the fish we caught. Got to share a little something about, you know, because the way we fish today has produced some big fish for me. It has definitely produced some big fish for me. Obviously not every single time, but when you get a chance to do it, you know, like we had a lighter wind, so we were able to kind of set up in this open water-ish type areas where I knew the river would be faced the way the wind's coming, but it wasn't terrible today. A couple times it blew the boat, but it wasn't bad. But like I said, it has produced a lot of big fish for me over the years. And some days it's on, some days it ain't. Today it definitely wasn't on by no means, but we caught a few. But yeah, if you can, if you got stuff like this around your area, one, it's a definite good way to figure out like fish travel, like I have done. I know that they'll come up, they'll work these, these rises and these falls on these holes plus these points at times. And when you target those and make that a priority, it's a lot of fun when you get into them. It's just maybe they weren't moving as much today. That could be it. But what was weird is every one we caught was out towards the channel, so maybe something to that. But anyway, it was a fun trip. I'm glad y'all came along with this one. And like always, I appreciate you watching this one, and I'll catch you in the next one.